while the Steele High School Choir, under the direction of Mr. Mark Skladden, perform the Star Spangled Banner in the Steele High School alma mater.
Guys, try to step on the front board.
I pledge allegiance to the flag. Hi. I'm Andy Weinmiller, president of the junior class. It is my pleasure to welcome the inductees and their families and guests to their induction into the Amherst School's Distinguished Alumni Gallery of Success. I would also like to welcome the following guests from the Amherst School community. Please hold your applause until all are introduced. Amherst Mayor John Higgins. Superintendent, Mr. Robert Boynton. Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Robert Gerstner. Director of Special Education and Principal of Shoup School, Mr. Dan Trent. Director of Educational Services, Ms. Judy Alexander. Director of Food Services, Mrs. Wanda Warford. Principal of Power School, Mrs. Paula Roth. Principal of North Middle School, Mr. Greg Ring. Principal of Amherst Junior High School, Mr. Michael Diamond. Assistant Principal of Amherst Junior High, Mr. Ron Moss. Principal of Harris School, Mrs. Rhonda Newhoff. Executive Director of Lorraine County Visitors Bureau, Mrs. Patricia Kano. Principal of Steele High School, Mr. Jeff Rizzo. Assistant Principal and Athletic Director of Steele High School, Mr. Eric Trombach. Student Council Advisor and Associate Principal of Steele High School, Mr. Thomas Lehman. I would also like to welcome past inductees into the gallery attending today. Please hold your applause until they are introduced. Mrs. Pat Penton Leinbach. Mrs. Cheryl Cookie McLoda. Mrs. Valerie Gerstenberger. If there are any other inductees in the gallery at this time, would you please rise and announce your name?
Now I'd like to introduce Principal of Steele High School, Mr. Jeff Kaiser.
Good morning. Honored guests, faculty, retired faculty, ladies and gentlemen, and especially the students here at Amherst Steele High School. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 15th Amherst Alumni Gallery Success Inductions. 16 years ago, when the planning began for this event, little did anyone know how important this program would be to our high school, our school system, and our community. We are proud of our school, we are proud of this program, and we're happy that you're here with us to share it with us. The success of our program is directly related to those people who have worked so hard to plan it. At this time, I'd like to thank the following people who are responsible for the organization of this program. The Steele High School Student Council and their co-presidents, Christina Callis and Liz Lehman. A special thank you to their advisor and our associate principal, Mr. Tom Lehman. The parent-teacher organization and their president, Mrs. Emily Nixon. Our great Amherst choir over here, and their director, Mr. Mark Scladden. Ms. Judy Alexander, our public relations coordinator, and her staff. Without the help of these people, this program would not be possible. To our honored guests, I would like to thank you for taking the time to be part of our program. I want you to understand that we have two goals for this program today. The first goal is to recognize you and people like you who have graduated from the Amherst school system and who have gone on to make a difference in this world. You are joining a distinguished group, a group that includes authors, religious leaders, military leaders, historians, leaders in education, in government, in science, in medicine, and in business. Your achievements add to the outstanding reputation of the Amherst school system. Our second goal is to use you as a role model for our students. We want you to help these students understand that they too can make a difference in our world. To know that they can graduate from Amherst Steele High School and place no limitations on what they can achieve. Just imagine a world filled with people who know what they do will make a difference, who strive consciously to make that difference a positive good for everyone. That world is a reality within our grasp. Our inductees have believed in themselves and have gone on to make a difference in this world. The same can be true of our Steele students who are present here today. Thank you, and God bless you.
I would like to introduce Student Council Recording Secretary Courtney Anderson, who will induct David Bourne of the class of 1980. David S. Bourne graduated from Marion Ellsdale High School in 1980. He attended Case Western Reserve University, where he earned both bachelor's and master's degrees in computer engineering. He was employed at Microsoft Incorporated, where he helped develop both printing and style sheet functions in the first Windows version of Microsoft Word. David not only excelled in business, he had broad knowledge of Eastern and Western music, philosophy, history, athletics, politics, astronomy, and gastronomy. Not only were his academic and career pursuits impressive, so was the effect he had on people that he came into contact with. He had a passion and love that brought people together. Dave helped inspire people to reach their potential. He knew no cultural boundaries and pushed them to learn as much as he could about the world around him. A rock climbing accident in 1990 took the life of David S. Bourne. A friend wrote of him shortly after his death. He was one of those really decent, gentle, empowered people who nudges the world to live up a little more to its vast potential. Many new friendships were created because of him and lives wonderfully affected. Accepting this award in David's behalf is his brother. So without further ado, it is my honor to introduce to you Mr. David Bourne.
Thank you, Courtney. A few weeks ago, I thought about asking the student council if it would be all right if I just sent an email for this speech, because I really don't like speaking in front of this many people. Yet here I am. It seems fitting that my brother Dave, someone who encouraged people to experience the fullness of life by getting outside of their comfort zones, would be the reason I'm here. It's been 13 years since his death, and yet he continues to teach me lessons. Thinking about today, I reflected on the idea of success and what it means to be successful. Some people are successful through extraordinary achievement. Others are successful because they are themselves extraordinary. I think of Dave as a person who lived an extraordinary life, a life that greatly influenced the people around him. He had achieved much in his career by the young age of 28. He earned a master's degree in computer science at Case Western Reserve. Worked at Microsoft back then, it was just an upstart computer company. And while I'm proud of his academic success and his skill as a software developer, what I think is most important about him is how he affected other people through his extraordinary approach to life. Dave's insatiable desire to learn and understand things was really quite astonishing. He read voraciously. He was a student of history, music, political science, philosophy. He was an excellent cook. He was an athlete. And most importantly, he placed himself in the company of people from walks of life, from all walks of life, and from different cultures. One friend wrote of him, a natural academic and intellectual for the sake of their appreciation alone. He was so open-minded about everything. Dave opened my eyes to many things in arts and in life. His death reminds me firmly that I must stop procrastinating and start doing all the things I say I should do and want to do. Even now, I hear from friends how he continues to influence us. We continue to try new experiences, meet new people, push ourselves a little harder, and even give speeches. As we observe increasing isolation across cultures, caused in part by fear of those who might be a little different or speak different languages or have different political views, we desperately need people willing to cross boundaries, real or imagined, to find commonalities and to push us to learn as much as we can about the world around us. My brother was that kind of person, and the kind of person that we all should strive to be. Thank you.
it would appear to have come true. At Marion L. Steele, Matt received many honors. Besides being a member of an array of clubs, he was a class officer and showed leadership in Student Council, the Band Council, and National Honor Society. He was president of the Drama Club, the Symphonic and Marching Bands, and represented MLS as a Buckeye Boys state representative. He also became an Eagle Scout for Troop 431. After graduation, Matt went to Bowling Green State University, where he graduated in 1983 with a triple major in film and television production, theater, and photography. While at BGSU, he continued his study and love of performance by appearing in numerous college theater productions, singing and touring with the Bowling Green State University Men's Chorus, of which he was the lead in the varsity quartet, competed in international competition with the same quartet, and was active in several honorary fraternities, including Theta Alpha Phi, Alpha Lambda Phi, and the Mortar Board, the university's most prestigious service honor society. During this time, Matt began his professional career by working for the PBS affiliate, WBGU. While there, he began working on his goal of becoming a director of photography and was involved in several award-winning productions and documentaries. Upon graduation, Matt then went to work for an ABC affiliate, another PBS station, and finally started his own production company in 1990 by the name of Summer Nights Film and Video. In the 13-year span, some of his clients include ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, ESPN, the BBC, the Discovery Channel, A&E, the Smithsonian Institute, many corporate accounts like the Ford Motor Company and Kmart Corporation, and many other documentary programs. Professional awards include several ACE Awards for cable programs, 2 Gold Telly Awards for directing a 4-part series on home and fire safety, and a Golden Videographer Award for that same series. After receiving several nominations, his first Emmy Award came for producing a 13-week series titled Zoo Today for the Toledo Zoo. Travel keeps life interesting with his assignments taken from all around the United States, sometimes on a weekly basis, as well as to Japan, Europe, and Puerto Rico. In 2002, Matt spent the month of February filming the Winter Olympics. Through it all, Matthew's professional goals have been to bring programming to millions, something with a shelf life, that is to say, programs with meaning, entertainment, and education to a medium which today can have a positive impact on so many people. It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you Mr. Matthew Atlas.
Thank you, Christina, for the lovely introduction, and a special thank you to the student council members and their advisors for selecting me for this honor. And thank you all too for being here this morning. Really appreciate it. I'm very impressed and very honored. When I was on student council, it seemed that the biggest concern that we had at the time was to try to determine what kind of cookies to serve at the homecoming dance. So again, I'm very flattered. I would also like to thank Mrs. Valerie Gerstenberger, and I'm sorry, whom I'll always fondly know as Mrs. Jenkins. That was her name when I was here. And she was so instrumental in my formation, introducing me to the world of theater and television and all the endless riches and possibilities. Now, I have to say that she was not always gentle in her teaching, referring to me more than one time as, and I'm quoting here, "you big booby." When, as a cast member, I would manage to do something particularly stupid. Again, not that I really deserved that particular compliment, or at least so I thought, but time with her proved to be instructive, if not memorable. Although she later passed my generation of would-be actors and production people into the capable hands of Mr. David Cotton, for me, Big Val, as one of my classmates lovingly dubbed her, would continue to be the watermark for me for years to come. I also need to thank my parents, especially my mother, Joan Eilis, for all the support. And that support to me often came in the form of a really good, solid push. Thank you for seeing me through all the good times and bad times that make honors such as this possible. My family is not often known for saying what they feel, so I just want you all to know that I love you. Also, thank you so much for honoring one of my dearest friends, David Bourne. We were close friends in school while we were here and afterwards. He was one class here behind me, and we had some. He was taken away much too soon from this world, and I cannot tell you how much I miss him.
I'm so proud to call Amherst my hometown. It is not till you get some distance that something really comes into focus. I have had a chance to travel and live in many, many places, and whether you folks know it or not, this place you daily get to call home is one of the finest communities I have ever experienced. To the students here today, I hope for you to find your passion in whatever field that may be and follow it. If you can fantasize it, if you can picture it, it will happen. Find your own path, study the paths taken by others, and go boldly forward. To the teachers here, both past and present, I would like to challenge you to also step out of your comfort zone. Look into the eyes of your students and encourage them to dream big. Trust me, if they find out they are not meant for or not any good at what they're doing, they'll figure it out. They will adapt, and they'll not blame anyone for the encouragement that got them that far. Without the encouragement, they may look back and say, only I had known. And then will come possible regrets. Your students will find their own way along the path to success. It's just sometimes we all need a little help to be shown the possibilities. 24 years ago, I heard the schoolhouse door click shut behind me for what I thought was the last time. Thank you again so very much for this honor. I have carried with me so many wonderful memories of my days here as a student, and now because you opened the door to me one more time, I will have yet another wonderful memory carry on my path to greater success. Thank you again.
I would like to introduce Senior Student Council Corresponding Secretary Melanie Snyder, who will induct Jeff Wilhelm of the class of 1970. Good morning. Many of the inductees here today have given back to the Amherst community and tried to make Amherst a better place to learn and to grow. Not only has Jeff Wilhelm given back to those here at Amherst, but also teachers around the country. Jeff has conducted numerous seminars and workshops and also written books in his attempt to teach teachers to become better educators. Jeff began with an excellent start in Steele, graduating number 3 in his senior class in 1977. A member of student council and also a runner on state cross country and track teams, Jeff knew success from the start. After high school, Jeff continued his education at Baldwin Wallace College, earning a BA in both English and German. Jeff went on to earn a master's degree in art and teaching, then a PhD in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction, thus earning the title of Dr. Wilhelm. While Dr. Wilhelm was furthering his own education, he was also giving education to countless students. After working for 15 years as a middle school and high school teacher, then later as a college professor, Mr. Wilhelm realized he didn't know how to teach. He just gave reading assignments and quizzes, and to him, this was not enough. This prompted various studies and in-depth research to discover a way to get through the kids. Most of Jeff's studies focus on incorporating the use of art, drama, and technology into teaching reading. Jeff's most recent study involved following a number of adolescent boys for several months. Jeff and his team asked the boys how often they read. Most replied never. After a couple months of logging everything and anything they did during a normal day, the boys realized that they read all the time, and they loved to do it. It wasn't what would be considered school reading. Most of it was reading magazines or newspapers or video games. Jeff took his results and incorporated them into his teaching methods. Now, Jeff is still conducting many research and at the same time teaching in the classroom. Unlike most professors who don't do research, who do mostly research, Jeff believes remaining in the classroom is crucial. He also travels the country conducting workshops and teaching other educators what he has learned in his studies. Jeff is the author of many books about teaching and teaching styles. Dr. Jeff Wilhelm's dedication to making himself the best educator he can be, as well as educating other teachers, is why he is inducted into the 2003 Amherst High School Gallery of Success. Unfortunately, due to his new job at Boise State University, Jeff was unable to be here with us today. Accepting his award on Jeff's behalf will be Mr. Jack Wilhelm, his father, and also a member of the gallery. Mr. Richard Cooley will then read a speech from Dr. Wilhelm.
This is from Jeff. He was at the University of Maine and just a few weeks ago went from Maine to Idaho State to become a professor. I can tell you very clearly to what I attribute my success. Any success that I might be said to have had, that would be to my teachers. The greatest teachers I ever had were all at Marion L. Steele High School. I remember well Mr. Blazer, who still lives here, but I don't think he's here today. My sophomore English teacher, who was a fantastic teacher. I learned a lot from him about English, but also about how to care for kids outside of school. He was very interested in every kid he taught and in their lives outside of school, their interests and their talents. Coach Cooley was my cross-country and track coach. He was a fabulous coach, which is why they named the track at Amherst Avenue. He was an head track coach for some 30 years. He was a fantastic coach and a fantastic teacher. I want to leave all that, but he told me not to. And then there's Mr. Townsley, my chemistry teacher, who at the moment is on his way to Indianapolis to take his sisters. He sends his greetings. I'll never forget the way he taught. He was so passionate, so active. He brought his game to school every day. I remember that when he taught density, he had a styrofoam ball that he threw at a kid and an iron ball he threw against the radiator. I don't think he ever got it fixed up, but he shot at density. There's Mr. Strom, who all of you know, I'm sure, who I had for junior and senior English and for novel. He challenged every student. He would know what that student could handle, and he would challenge that student for the max that he could take. He was a great teacher, and still is, who really changed my life. And there's the Lyles, Mr. and Mrs. Lyle, they're here today, who I had for psychology and math. Now, I mean, when they stand, I like to have them stand. I mean, they came in with me in 1950. Mr. and Mrs. Lyle. And they were also fabulous teachers who would always welcome people into their home. They had wide interests and were great readers, and I learned a lot from them inside and outside the classroom. And of course, there's my father, Jack, inducted in 1991. My Uncle Bill and Aunt Louise, who were great teachers of mine. I appreciate everything that these people and the other fine teachers in Amherst have contributed to my success. And I thank you for inviting me to join the Gallery of Success. Thank you very much.
I would now like to introduce Senior Malia Flanagan, who will induct Tisha Eichenlaub from the class of 1960. If you have ever attended an Amherst freshman football game, soccer game, or wrestling match, chances are the inductee I am presenting sold you your ticket. Pat Eichenlaub, a 1960 graduate of Amherst Steele High School, first got involved with the Amherst School when her daughter Robin, a 1984 graduate, was attending North Junior High. Mrs. Eichenlaub took the job of coaching Robin's cheerleading squad and went on to coach squads at North Junior High and Amherst Steele for 20 years. Countless hours of practice and time on the road paid off, with many of Mrs. Eichenlaub's squads being state champs and competing at national levels. Her squad's awards can still be seen in the trophy cases of Amherst Steele. But her involvement with the Amherst schools didn't stop at cheerleading. Mrs. E. also ran the concession stand alongside her parents for 15 years. And dealing with distributors, checking inventory, and stocking the concession stand is no small task when you also have a family to raise. She even works bingo for every sport except tennis and swimming.
dedication to the Amherst School has paid off in raising enormous amounts of money for sports and PTO, and is inspiring others to follow in her footsteps. Mrs. Eichenlaub set a standard for those who volunteer their time to better Amherst schools. But her involvement in these activities extends well beyond time given. Mrs. E is thought of as a mentor, friend, and confidant by many of the students she helped throughout her career. It is my honor to introduce to you Mrs. Pat Eichenlaub.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for attending this honorable event. I feel a bit awkward here this morning because I find myself in very unfamiliar surroundings here. I'm not a school teacher, I'm not a professor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a lawyer. I'm just me. For the past 20 years, I've stood behind a podium like this to address cheerleaders, football players, basketball players, and their parents. I've had several speaking things at banquets, which I've always said I hate to speak at banquets. But for some reason, I have, along with the banquets comes my, I can't think of the word I want to say, that I keep going on and on and on and on. So that means I've had white flags flying me by saying, quiet. I've had coaches going, time's up, hurry up, get off, we got a program to do here. So I've seen it all and I've been there for it all. I guess you just can't teach an old dog new tricks, because obviously I'm the oldest one here. I see one teacher in the audience that I've had when I was in school, not as a teacher, but you didn't want to go to his office at any time to be reprimanded, and that is Mr. Lyle. And I keep seeing him at several of the games and everything coming in, and he always takes time to stop and talk to me, and I really appreciate that. I see some of the coaches here that I've been here with, Mr. Risen, Mr. Boynton, Mr. Haas, Mr. Frombach is the athletic director, and I do not know how many people came up to me this morning and said, you have 10 minutes, okay? Well, I do have the shortest speech, but all what I'm saying isn't in my speech, so I will go on with my speech. I do want to take this time, however, to thank Mr. Lehman, the Student Council, for this wonderful honor. Also the administration and the Board of Education for working with me all those years I was in school and putting up with me all those years that I was in the school. I'm very proud to be part of this event and will accept this recognition in memory of my mom and dad, Joe and Ethel, who have always been at my side. I know they're here today. Thank you.
I would like to introduce Student Council Co-President Liz Lehman, who will induct Paul Simon of the class of 1977. Over the years, few people have given as generously to Amherst schools as Paul Simon. Mr. Simon is also a major contributor to the Amherst softball program. His involvement in Amherst athletics goes back to his high school days. A 3-year starter on the varsity football team, he was a standout player and captain his senior year. Following graduation from Steele, he attended Ashland University on a football scholarship. After lettering his freshman year at Ashland, he transferred to Northwood Institute in Michigan and played football there for 3 years. Mr. Simon received his degree in business administration with a minor in accounting. He then returned to Amherst to take over the Simons Dodge dealership from his father, Peter. Peter founded Simons over 50 years ago. Today, the business employs 45 people and is extremely successful. Anyone
an excellent example of Mr. Slyman's dedication to Amherst softball. The completion of Slyman's Diamond has given a new home to Amherst varsity softball and has enabled us to host various tournaments and state playoff games. He also funded and oversaw the construction of a brand new field on Washington Street, and coming soon, 2 new fields will be added to Township Park. Mr. Slyman also sponsors 5 traveling girls softball teams for girls 12 years old and younger. Many other organizations in the community also benefit from his charitable donations. Friendly and kind to everyone he encounters, Mr. Slyman never hesitates to assist the Amherst schools or community in whatever way he can. I'm proud to induct into the 2003 Steele High School Gathering of Success 1977 graduate, Mr. Paul Slyman.
Thank you. Bear with me, I had a new eye surgery that doesn't work. First of all, I'd like to thank the Student Council for giving me this award. I also would like to thank my family, my friends, and my employees for being here. And special thanks for my sister Wanda Work for nominating me to receive this award. Thank you very much. Well, Mom and Dad, did you ever expect me to be here after the first grade? Let me fill you in on a little secret. My daughter Mallory, who's 8 years old, doesn't even know this. I flunked first grade. Okay, well really I was held back. What's the difference? So I repeated first grade. Somehow I slid through second grade. And then comes third grade and they want to hold me back again. Well, that's what moms are for. She begged the teacher to let me pass because I was getting to be too big in the classroom. So I passed third grade because of my mother. Thank you. Then comes fourth grade. Well, there was a thing out in fourth grade called CYO football, and I wanted to play bad, so I had to get good grades. So that started my school career of getting good grades in football. So from then on, I've been able to manage, and I haven't flunked or held back any other grades since then. I had 2 goals in life. My first goal, I wanted to be a professional football player. I started playing, like I said, in the 4th grade. I played in over 150 games, scrimmages. Football was my life. I love the game. It's hard for me to see you fellas in those jerseys because I like to be sitting there with a jersey on like you are. A lot of memorable times, but to be honest with you, out of all the high school, college, grade school, most memorable games are the Friday night high school games. Fellas, that's something you'll never forget. When I go to your games, I still get that tingle in my stomach where, you know, you can smell it in the air and you just want to be out there. My senior year, there were 600 players in the league in college, and there was only 2 fellas that made it to the pros. And guess what? I wasn't one of them. Maybe they didn't know Amherst was a long-distance phone call, I don't know. But there was no scouts that called me. There was no knock at the door. There was no letter. So I had to go on with my life. I realized I wasn't going to be a professional football player. So my second goal in life, I wanted to be an auto dealer. My father was a dealer. He was in business for 45 years. I worked there since I was 9 years old. Started from the bottom. There was no silver spoon with my father given to me. He started me washing cars. From there I went on to be a mechanic. I wasn't a very good mechanic, so they got me out of there. Went back to wash cars. Finally got out of that department. Became a salesman. In fact, I even used to, at study halls, I used to slip out, get on the telephone, call my prospects, and at the end of school, I would be at the dealership selling cars. So the school let me do that. From then on, being a salesman, then my father got me into management. The pay was not very good. I used to tell him I was the lowest paid fellow on the totem pole, but that's part of being a dealer's son. From then on, I moved up, became a general manager for my father. Then I had a big idea that I wanted to be the owner, so I came in to buy my father and his brother out. Fortunately, the bank would not finance me. I would only be able to buy one of the partners out, so I bought my father's brother out, Tony Slyman. And then me and my father became partners. What did I get? A road awakening. You know, all the things that my dad told me about the business, you know, the old old man was right. You know, I used to spend money when it wasn't mine, but I'll tell you what, when you become a partner and it's your money that you're spending, you get a different set of glasses and you see things differently. So, Dad, you were right on a lot of things. I was just a typical teenager, didn't agree with you. You said right, I went left. But that's the way life is. But me and my father then worked together. We've had some rough times down there. As you all know, the car business has been up and down, sideways. And I can remember with Chrysler products, we wouldn't even let people test drive them too long because either they had water leaks or they had air leaks. So there was no test driving. But Chrysler has come on strong. Our dealership came on strong. I was fortunate enough to be successful in the dealership. I bought my father out. Then on, I saw things differently also. I've been a dealer now for 10 years. So I guess I accomplished my second goal, to become a dealer. Through the success of the business at our dealership, I've been able to give back to the community. It's kind of nice to see, you know, our tax dollars and things spent well. Beautiful additions here at Amherst, the complexes. You can figure out that I have 2 daughters. That's how I got involved in softball. If I would have had a son, I'd have been involved in football again. But it's kind of nice, just a different environment, getting involved in softball. It's really ironic. My father helped build this complex in 1970, the football field. There was 12 gentlemen. They built this field, tax-free money. And now I find myself building fields for the athletes here at Amherst School. If there's anything that I can share in my life, you have to set goals in your life. You have to work hard at them. Things aren't going to happen automatically. When you fall, get back up and keep striving and keep working hard. I'm finding myself right now telling my daughters the same thing that my father told me. There's no substitute for hard work. Thank you very much.
I'd like to now introduce Student Council Vice President Senior Jade Nero, who will induct Jerry Books of the class of 1984. Of course, there is no formula for success except perhaps no traditional acceptance of life full of grace. And like presented Mr. Books, 1984 graduate, was a pretty big obstacle. He was born with mild case of cerebral palsy and at the age of 10 was evidently blind. He was a student at Amherst, did advanced courses, and later was a member of the National Society, Honor Society. He graduated from Havasu University, serving as business training. He served as a writer, copywriter, and editor. Other art schools through the News Times, promoting businesses through articles, brochures, and websites. He was the relations coordinator for the National Association of College Stores Publishers and is an active volunteer in the program for the United Way Vision Weekend and Easter series. He was selected to be co-chairman for the day of hearing and to be the torch carrier for 1996. His previous sports writer for local newspapers liked to write and help sell books to people with disabilities and for businesses. He enjoys reading, writing, traveling, and watching sports. Mr. Books has incredible strength and character, leading a totally independent life and welcoming yet open arms. So it is an honor to introduce Mr. Jerry Books for the 2013 inauguration.
Thank you, Jane, very much. When I first received the news that I would be receiving this tremendous honor, to say that I was humbled and stunned would be a real understatement. But then a few people came up to me after that and said, well, Jerry, you've overcome so many challenges in your life that you really deserve this. Well, I don't know about that, but I do have a challenge facing me right now. As those of you who know me know, I don't talk a lot, I'm pretty quiet. So to stand up here and make any type of comment is somewhat difficult. But I also have another challenge, one for all of you, and particularly the students, because I have some good news and some bad news. Well, I start with the bad news. I think The good news is that it's all in large print, so it won't take very long at all. The first thing I would like to do is thank Mr. Lehman and all the members of the Student Council. Again, I am still, all these months later, stunned and humbled by this great honor. And I'd also like to congratulate the other members. These are truly wonderful people, and I'm totally honored to be considered among them. One of the things that I've had the privilege to do during my career is attend many of these gallery ceremonies. And one of the things that people always seem to do, and it's totally appropriate, is to thank all those people that have made such an influence in their lives and got them to this point. Well, I guess I'm not going to sway too far away from that. The first thing I'd like to do is thank my parents, who, wherever they may be, I'm sure they've got a pretty good seat for this. Also, I was able to see and talk to many of my former teachers and mentors here today, and it's just a real pleasure to see them once again. I see them a lot in town, and it's just a pleasure to see so many people here again today. In particular, I am so thrilled that one of my former teachers, Mr. Strong, is right here in the front row. I remember last spring, I attended an event and where, as part of it, Mr. Strong received the Comet Award, which was presented by students. And Adam Prim, the senior at that time who presented him with the award, said something that really hit home with me. And just to paraphrase, the kind of class and the kind of teacher that Mr. Strong is, he's the kind of person where you can talk about English literature, but you can also argue over the strengths and weaknesses of the Browns and the Steelers, because Mr. Strong is from Pittsburgh, and you can also discuss the sociological merits of The Simpsons. And I definitely know that firsthand because I've been privileged to say that over the last 20 years since graduating, Bill Strong is one of my closest and dearest friends, and Bill, thank you very much for being here. I guess one of the things that I would like to leave everyone here and the students with is what a terrific school system we really have, and what a great community. It's been my privilege for the last few years to work and promote all the good things that are happening in our schools, and that to be the person that does that is just a tremendous honor for me. But good schools are made up of good people, and I think those students, you may know that now, but you're going to realize that a whole lot more in the years to come. We've already heard from many of our inductees. They all talked about the people here, and they are just tremendous. Just to give you one example, there's a person that I would really like to pay special honor to this morning. I was never in one of her classes, was never a student in one of the classes that she taught, but picture this, if you will. Picture a 10-year-old kid at the old Central School in 5th grade here in Amherst, scared to death because he just found out that he suffered some type of severe vision loss. No one knew what happened, but it was in the middle of the school year, and once the shock wore off, it was time to get back to studies and get back into school and get back to a normal life. Well, there was someone standing in the background who went to my teachers and went to my parents and said, "Jerry's always loved to read. We can't let him lose that love." So she enrolled me, through the help of my parents and my teachers, in the Talking Book program, where I was able to listen to books and still read, even through the challenges that I was facing. Well, fast forward about 4 years, my first year of high school, and just like it was meant to be, this person moved to the high school as well and took a job at the high school where we could work together again. Right away, she insisted that I become a library aide, and through the years, did many things, including acquiring a closed-circuit TV so that I could read large print. But the one thing I always remember is when you order books through the Talking Book program, it often takes quite a few months for that to happen. And when you're in school and going through different things, that just doesn't work. It's just too long. You don't get the books in time, and you just end up too far behind, and it just doesn't work. Well, especially when you're in Mr. Strom's AP English class, it certainly wasn't going to work because the class was moving far too quickly, and we were starting to read Huckleberry Finn. Well, this person took it upon herself in her free time every evening to read the book on tape so that I would have my own talking book for Huckleberry Finn. She did that during her free time, and I kept up all through the class. This is the kind of people that we have in Amherst. And then after I graduated from high school, my parents went to her and said, "We want Jerry to have something after graduation that will really help him throughout the rest of his career. What would that be?" And she said, "Well, if you can swing it, it would be great if you could have a computer." And so through her influence and knowledge of computers, which were very new at the time, I had a computer as I was preparing to graduate from college. The person I'm referring to is Judy Alexander. She's been a lifelong friend, a cherished mentor, and someone that I care about very dearly for the last 25 years. And I couldn't stand here today without at least acknowledging all of her efforts and the great friendship that we have. Knowing her the way that I do, she doesn't like this kind of recognition or acknowledgement in public. So I'll just say, Judy, thank you. Again, one of the things that also with Judy's help, I said I've been able to write about the good things and promote the good news that's happening in this community, either through the newspaper, as a newspaper reporter for a couple of years, and now through the special editions and through other projects. I'm able to promote all the good things that happen in this community. And so you really need to understand what a great school system we have. It's been my privilege to do that. And again, it's my privilege to be a part of this gallery and with this group. Thank you very much.
The program he initiated is called the Donor Network of Arizona. He was recognized for this by receiving the Pride Life Award, which is given to one single organization a year. After Amherst, he went on to Ohio State, where he obtained a degree in microbiology and nursing. While working in the trauma unit in Columbus, he recognized the need for organ and tissue donation. At this point, he became the education manager of Lifeline of Ohio Incorporated. One of Mitchell's most important responsibilities was to educate the public on this need. His compassion for this cause can be carried out by individuals wishing to donate in the Cleveland area of Lifeline. We believe, based on how his work has impacted lives of those in critical need, that he should be recognized for this accomplishment by being placed into the Gallery of Success. Now I am honored to present to you Jeffrey Stewart Mitchell.
I also have good news. I'm the last one. Thank you, Andrew, for that introduction. And I would like to thank the Student Council and Tom Lehman for selecting me as a member of the Gallery of Success. Success to me means not money or material things, but having been judged by people who I respect to have done something that has made a difference, something that's meaningful. It's truly an honor to be up here today among the other graduates of Mariann's Field who are inducted today in the Gallery of Success. To me, success has been having a rewarding career in the value of organ donation and transplantation. But the career would not have been possible without the firm foundation that was laid years ago growing up here in Amherst and graduating from this high school. First of all, John and Dorothy Medoff. They taught me the value of working hard and being responsible. Throughout their lives, they have always placed the needs of their children before the needs of their own. And I don't have enough time to thank them for everything they have done. I would also like to thank the rest of my family who's here today, taking up almost the whole front row. My sister, Jan Morris, her husband, Steve, and their three wonderful children, Abby, Ron, and Ryan, and Connor. It's in large part due to them that we have remained a close family, even though I relocated to Phoenix, Arizona because of my career. I received an amazing education here at Amherst High School, and many gifted teachers are here today that I've had in classrooms here. It is also a privilege to be back here today and be able to thank them personally, as I know in their job they are not thanked enough for what they have done. Each left an impression upon me which I still carry today. I would especially like to thank Mrs. Margaret Hudd, Mr. Chick Housley, Mr. Bill Strong. Also Mr. Norris Smith, who taught biology. I'd like to especially thank Mrs. Jean Wingate for spending her lunch hour tutoring me in Algebra 2 so I could catch up and graduate with taking calculus here at Marion Hills Field. And my lifelong mentors and friends, Jean and Doris Lodge. Thank you all. Transplantation is a unique field in medicine. A family has to make a decision under very tragic circumstances upon the loss of someone that they love very much to give organs of a loved one to someone that they may never know. My ability to make a difference is because of them, and I dedicate this award to them. I'd like to close with a quote from a favorite movie of mine. A heart is not judged by how much it loves, but by how much it is loved by others. I am truly lucky, grateful, and appreciative to be loved by so many family members and friends here today. Thank you.
I would like to once again reintroduce the MLS choir under the direction of Mr. Mark Spillane. Thank you.
DC and administrator for a pass back to the GBS. Steel students, please return to your second period class. And ladies and gentlemen, lunch will be served in the Media Center at 11:45. Congratulations again to all the inductees.